Hello. So today we move the focus from you as a system to your team as a system. And I know all of you have very different amount of employees that work within your team, but nevertheless, let's look as a team size as you have it. So imagine someone just left your team. One employee in your team just said they are resigning. You have event that is very just in front of you, right? You have nowhere to run away from it. But then you can look at the iceberg model as well to think about what patterns or trends have impacted it. So what trends there have been over time. And you can see maybe that employee had really low energy lately or quite low disengagement in the last few months. Then looking at the underlying structures, again start asking what has influenced the pattern and what are the relationships between it. And when you start speaking with the broader team members, you might figure out that what happened, that employee felt he's not growing and not developing enough in the company within your team. And then you can have assumptions around mental models, what that mental models that employee had. And this is where you can see that he thought or she thought that no one cares about their development. And going even deeper than that and asking some whys, you can see that he thought this way because maybe you haven't dedicated enough time for their development and discussions around their development. So just again, zooming out and looking how those different parts are interconnected with each other, how they are impacting each other. With your employee leaving the team, it has huge impact on the team as well. One trick with the systems thinking is that system remains sane when elements change, but it alters drastically if interconnections or purpose change. So as an example, if your team was just restructured and part of the team is now moving to the different project to work on, this might need more preparation compared to if someone is leaving the team. Or maybe company have shifted focus a little bit differently and now your team needs to repurpose themselves and look for the different purpose than before. This is again needs more work from you as a manager for preparation. Let's go in more details when we look to your team as a system. As we said, we're not looking, when we look to the system, we don't look just to, Petras and Anna as different parts of your team. We look how they connect with each other. So this is the next exercise for you. You can draw or just write down names as you wish and just mark all the members in the team that you have. Right? So let's say here is Anne, here is Petras, and here is Thomas and Irina. Right? What I invite you to do is when you draw that afterwards, think for yourself, how much do they connect with each other and what kind of relationships do they have with each other? When Gallup have done a research around the team engagement, one element that they found that very strongly impacts the teams is connected with the question, do I have best friend at work? Many of you might think, what? Why should have a best friend at work? We come to work not to make friends, but to do our work and responsibilities. Well, apparently that has huge impact of our engagement. And if you figure out that maybe Anna and Thomas and Petras really get along very well with each other, think about Irina. How you can create more opportunities for her to connect with the rest of the team, to create opportunity for her to have one-on-ones with other team members so she can find these friends at work, can have more connection. Same happens for us as people managers. It's easy for us to give feedback for our employees. But it's super awkward for our employees to say for each other, well, you know what? I want to have one-on-one with you. I have some feedback for you. Usually they don't do that unless you create opportunity or a system that supports it. I know that one of your teams in Exacaster works completely according to the Scrum, and this enabled you to have peer one-on-ones regularly and solved a lot of challenges that have been before. So if you don't work according to the system that would enable it, think how to do it more naturally or start it naturally as a tradition within your team for team members to have one-on-ones with each other as well. At least once a quarter, start from there, or once a month if possible. So they start to get to know each other better. Same applies for you as a leadership team when you think about connecting with each other. Now we work during this learning program, we work as a group. But what happens outside of the group setting? Do you go to each other for help? Do you know each other personally? Think how you can get more of those connections, because once you know each other as a person, it's much easier for you to go out there for support and help. So, just a reminder, on this exercise, identify who has within the team strong connections, who don't have strong connections, and very mindfully think how, maybe artificially in the beginning, you can help them to connect with each other. So you are not the messenger. You know what happens with the feedback many times, that you stand in the middle over there while two people have arguments for each other. So one is complaining for you, another one is complaining for you, but this is happening just because they don't talk directly with each other. So how, instead of being mediator, you can help them to connect and know each other as as people, real people first, to have more trust, and then you can step out allowing that when that relationship is created. Think about it yourself. What was the strongest team you have been part of? Usually people who experience this strong team feeling always talk about it as huge generative energy. When we talked about you as a system, remember that bathtub example where you have the flow of the water in and the drainage out? So this flow of an energy in the team is generated a lot within the team members cooperating with each other. If you want to create the sense of a great team spirit for your team, you can deconstruct even the great examples that you have and that your team members have, and search for patterns as well, like through the iceberg model. But there is one more exercise that you can do, and this exercise is recommended by Patrick Lencioni in his book 5 Dysfunctions of the Team as the basis for build trust in the team. It's called team effectiveness exercise. So what you can do, it will take around 1 or 2 hours for you to do this exercise. Invite your team members together and invite them first to write all the strengths of other team members and how each of them are strengthening your team. So if you have Irina, Tomas, and Tadas in the team, Irina should write for yourself as leader, then for Tadas and Tomas, what strengths of them she sees and how this strengthens your team. The second question is what distracts them from being successful in the team, from strengthening the team. So we don't call it weaknesses, but what behaviors they have that distracts team from being successful. So I just write behaviors that distract success. once you have these answers, come and if it's possible physically, come to the circle. If not, then do it virtually. You will need to start from you as a leader. So this is where everyone will need to read the first part, the strengths part, where they see your strengths and how these help out you as a team to be successful. They start from you as a leader and then go one by one for everyone around the room. Once this is finished, you come to the behaviors that distract the success. Again, starting from you and going around the room. And then once you have those 2 circles done, you come to the stage when you ask everyone to write down what have they received out of this exercise and what they are going to do about it. So just marking for yourself what's out of it from what I've heard then. Maybe focusing more on strengths than the weaknesses, right? What I can do about it. And when I invite you to do this exercise is in upcoming 2 weeks, and then share your insights once we meet everyone in the live session. See what have you noticed about your team and about yourself during this exercise. As I mentioned, it won't take you long, 1 or maximum 2 hours, depending on the size of the team. If you have just 2 people on the team, that might take just 20 or 30 minutes to do.